Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Platypus is the name. We're talking about Minami here, otherwise known as Marian. I'm going to try using the code names more just to keep it a little more consistent. Yeah, we're going to talk about this new character that just added to the game. I have now used her for, I don't know, roughly 24 hours, and I've used her in probably every fight. I've probably used her in like almost literally every fight I've done, and I've done a lot of fights in the last 24 hours. So I have got her up to the 78 power. I've built her pretty well, so I think I have a much better idea of how she actually works and how good she is, and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and talk about her. Before we do that, though, really quick, I do want to say I'm not going to say if you should or you shouldn't pull. I think there is a time and a place where maybe if a character comes out where it is an absolute must pull, I'll say something like that, but I think it's pretty subjective, honestly. I mean, at the end of the day, she is a healer. Is she the best healer? Probably. I really wanted her. And I personally would pull for her, but I don't know your situation, both in terms of your free-to-play currency and your finances. So I'm not going to try to tell you, yes, your account, you must pull or your account is bricked, or no, don't waste it. You pulled her. Absolutely. What an idiot. My understanding is she will come to the standard banner, but we don't know exactly when. So if you're patient and you're lucky, you could get her for free. But again, even when she goes to the standard banner, you still have to pull her from the standard banner. So it might still be hard to get her, but needless to say, I think she is very good, but whether or not you should pull, that's up to you. Now let's jump into it. So what does she actually do? To put it simply, she heals, and she heals, and she heals, and she heals. She has a little bit of a slight way to buff damage a little bit, and she also has a little bit of like survivability tied to her as well, but she mostly is about healing and honestly being the best healer in the game easily in terms of straight healing numbers. She does have one attack here, Nurse's Light, deals bless damage to one foe equal to 42% of her HP, and you grant a blessing stack to the whole party. The blessing stack is super weak, but there are characters that synergize with it, like if you're using Styx. Her name isn't Styx, her name is something else, but there's the other light character that cares about you having blessing stacks. But for the most part, the blessing stack is literally 1% heal for 2 turns. It's not that big. But also you gain diagnosis, which is cool. You pretty much want 2 of these at all times. You're allowed to have only 1. It'll still be effective, but this is a pretty sizable hit. I mean, 42% is low, right? I haven't even leveled it up, but if you get it up, I don't know, up to level 9, it's going to get up to 56% roughly damage. And again, of her HP, a lot of HP. So it's like an easy 7,000 damage hit, something like that. So pretty darn good skill. But this is not really what you're using most of the time. It's only single target. You're using it sometimes to break shields, or if everyone is topped off and you really just don't need to do anything. And even in that situation, I would consider guarding or attacking just to keep her SP topped off for longer fights. Healing Grace, restore HP equal to 15% of her max HP plus 822. This may not sound like the most absurd amount, but this is actually bigger than her big heal. Her like ultimate heal. This is very powerful, and it cures 2 debuffs. It also grants a blessing stack to all allies healed, and it gives her a diagnosis stack. So this is like kind of if you have to heal every turn, you're switching between compassionate care and then going to healing grace, then you're switching between these to ensure you get as many diagnosis stacks as possible. And at the start of each turn, for 2 turns, they also heal more HP. So this is healing. On top of healing, it also grants blessing, which is healing, and then it gives her the ability to heal more in the future, and it heals them more over time. It just healing, very powerful. Her ultimate, get this, she heals. Spend all diagnosis stacks. So you get up to 2 diagnosis stacks. Increases her max HP by 15% for each stack. When using certain skills, you spend the stacks to strengthen those skills' effects. So you can keep the diagnosis stacks and get her HP absurdly high. Like if you don't need healing and you have 2 diagnosis stacks, you don't need to spend them. You can just keep your really huge HP increase and use it to attack and deal damage. So she has a way, if you don't need to heal, to still deal damage, which is important. But this is the big hit, right? So it heals less than Healing Grace. So you're like, why is it good? It heals 13.6% and plus 744, but it also restores the HP of the ally with the lowest HP with this effect 2 times. So it heals 3 times. But wait, for each diagnosis stack, you activate this effect 1 more time, and for each diagnosis stack spent, you increase the max HP of allies by 7.5% of her max HP. Currently, it's up to 674. I assume it gets quite a bit higher. It goes up to over 1,000, right? So basically, this will heal everyone. It'll give them a boatload of HP. It'll give them roughly 2,000 HP because, right, she's using this. You're using 2 stacks. It's for each stack spent. So they're going to get 50. I think it's more than 15%, right? Actually, it doesn't look like it goes above 15%, but still, its point is you're going to hit that cap, I think, relatively easily. So gives heals. I mean, this thing, it heals stronger than you're thinking it's going to every single time. It pretty much heals. It's a button, heal everyone to full and give them a bunch of HP. Her ultimate here is actually, believe it or not, it's healing here. The highlight, it's these two skills combined. It does a pretty big heal, and it also cures a debuff, and it also does healing over time. And then the reason why it's combined with the compassionate care is it also gives them up to 1200 whatever additional HP, right? It goes up to what I think 2300 HP. So this is all important to keep in mind, the max HP increasing nature of this. But this is just like a really big heal. I honestly don't use it that much. If I really need the max HP to survive getting one shot, that's where it's really good. So let's take a quick look at her passives here. This is her one ability that kind of lets her buff. After she heals an ally, she increases their damage by 15%. plus 3x blessing. So if you have 5 blessings, that's 3 times 5, that's 15. So you get 30% more damage for one turn if you get 5 blessing stacks. It is not easy to get 5 blessing stacks. Even if you have like 1 blessing stack, maybe 2, that's fine. Like, right, if you're getting 15%, anywhere between 15 and 30%, this is all fine. But what I want you to keep in mind is that this is not why you're bringing this character, like literally at all. Like, compare this to Rin, for example. Rin on the first turn of combat can increase all the damage all enemies take by like 90+%. They take 90+% more damage. That is so much more than up to 30% more damage on an ally, right? So this is not why you're bringing her, but this helps mean that you aren't spending one slot for only a healer, right? Between her ability to actually deal reasonable single target damage and to buff other people a little bit, you're not paying that much of a price for bringing her. You are paying a price, right? It's an opportunity cost on your team, but it is good, but it's not like crazy, right? Like, this is not like, whoa. Peace of mind. At the start of battle, increase party's max HP by 10% of her HP up to 1500. So if you have 15,000 HP, which I talked about before, everyone's going to get 1500 HP. So this is what's so good. This might seem like, I don't know if this seems like a lot to you, but I promise this is a lot. Think about in combat, when you're fighting a boss, every single time you see that you have a character whose HP is at 1500 or below, they would be, you know, if while she's on your team, they would be dead, right? If she wasn't there, right? Think about, that's a lot of extra. Think about this as shield that you have 24/7, right? You always just have this as 1500 shield because this is extra HP that prevents you from getting one shot, right? So this is huge. So between this 1500, this extra, whatever, 2000, this extra 2000, right? 2, 4, you're going to get like 6,000-7,000 extra HP even on your squishiest targets. Now, this is not necessarily the most important thing. Being able to top everyone off is good, but I'm telling you, when you're going up against harder content and they hit really, really hard, just not dying in one, surviving. It's like, I've had tons of turns where if I have Lufel, right? I heal my characters all up to 4. By the time my turn comes up again, one round, they've single target killed one character. And Lufel doesn't increase max HP. Not that Lufel is bad. I actually have come around on Lufel being pretty good. But the point is, if you have a bunch of extra HP, that's half the battle, just surviving until you actually get another turn to heal and not getting one shot when you get focused down. So this is all so good. You've got literally the best healing in the game, combined with a great amount of survivability that is both proactive and reactive. This happens as soon as the battle starts, so you're already harder to die to a first action in combat. And you've got the ability for an emergency button highlight that also increases your HP. And the skill you want to use the most also is increasing everyone's HP. So very good. And you have a little bit of buffing and you have a very good skill. This is all very, very good. She has become pretty much my favorite character in the game. Although she's a little boring, she's boring in the way that I like. I really like slow, tanky characters. It's fun to use Joker and one-shot everything in the game in like the first turn with this additional action. But I like just like an enemy going all out, using their ultimate move and seeing my health bar go like, bip, like nothing, right? I'm like, good, do that again. I hope you hit me 10 more times with that attack. I don't care. That's the kind of thing that makes me feel like OP. More than killing them really fast, it's like watching them go all out and then not dying. So I really like her. But let's kind of go over, I want to go over her revelation cards, her weapons, and her teammates, and then we'll do a little bit of a showcase actually in combat, okay? So, important thing with her weapon here. I have her 5-star weapon. Is her 5-star weapon worth pulling? Again, this is even more subjective than her. I think if you have her, you don't need her 5-star weapon, right? There's no doubt about it. But her 5-star weapon is pretty stacked. In fact, if we look at her other, we're gonna look at all of her weapons here. I think her yellow weapon, her 4-star weapon, is not very good in my opinion. Maybe the math on it is better. I would actually end up using her 3-star weapon if I didn't have her 5-star myself personally, but we'll take a look at that. So increase HP by 30%. I think it kind of matters what you're using her for primarily. I think her 5-star weapon is one of the best because obviously because it fulfills all the roles, but it also, if you're going to use her and you care about getting extra damage on your team from your healer, then it's an extra good weapon. Also, her eyes move around a lot. HP 30%, obviously this is freaking insane. None of her other weapons even give her HP, so this is very good. When she has diagnosis, increase healing effect by 10%. So just by having diagnosis, you're healing more. You don't even have to spend it, right? So using your other healing skill will be very powerful. And then when you spend diagnosis, increase party's damage by 25% for 1 turn. So this is like another way to get a pretty big buff, right? Let's say you use your big heal, right? You're gonna increase all their damage by 15%, you know, straight up, because, or at minimum, because you're triggering your healing effect, that 15% plus the 3 times the amount of blessings. So you're getting 15% minimum. Then you're increasing your whole party's damage by 25%. If you spend 2 diagnosis stacks, I don't think this stacks twice. I honestly don't remember. We'll check when we go into combat. But this makes her healing. It's an insane weapon. It's good. She will function probably 80% as good without this. The only thing that's really unique about this, I mean, yeah, the HP is good, but you can get that from cards. As long as you hit 15,000 eventually, I think that's fine. Is she's going to help you with a little bit of damage, which I like because I like running her in teams. If you're using things like Soy and Key and her, where all of your stuff scales off HP, this is actually better because you want damage scaling, not attack scaling or defense scaling, right? So this is very good for that. But outside of that, I don't think it's super necessary. Let's take a look at her other weapon here. So the Hymn of Life, increase healing effect by 8.7%, increase continuous healing by roughly 30%. After using a healing skill, 26% chance to grant blessing to the target. Even if, I don't see the highest level version of this, but even if this was 100% chance to grant 1 blessing to the main target, maybe it's like, okay, because you have things that heal multiple times, but it says after using a healing skill. Honestly, I think this weapon is not very good. I would go as far as to say this weapon seems kind of bad to me. Her healing is already so good. I don't feel like that extra healing effect is that important. And an extra bless stack is just not that good, if I'm being completely honest. If we come down here to her 3-star, after using a skill on an ally, restore 3% of max HP at the start of the turn for 1 turn. I like this a little bit more because it means when you use her ultimate, this will also give them healing at the start of their next turn, right? So this will kind of take a little bit of the healing burden off. It's probably not as good, but because you're healing everybody all the time, I actually think this is reasonable. But honestly, and this is not even a joke, there's a reasonable chance I would just take the blue weapon over her. Like, this might sound insane, and it might be insane, all right? I don't have the math. But I think I would take her 5-star weapon first, her 2-star weapon second, her 3-star weapon third, and then her 4-star weapon last. That is my order of operations. Even though the stats on this are very low, just getting like, because you could max this out super easily, right? This is probably 28% roughly when you actually get, I'm not spending the money to find out, but this is going to be a decent amount of HP. And honestly, just flat HP I think is better for her because it increases the survivability of your whole team by a lot until you hit those thresholds. Once you hit these thresholds where people aren't getting any more max HP, that's when I would switch to healing effectiveness at some point, and then maybe I'll switch to her 4-star. But at this stage of the game, I actually think the blue weapon is the best. Now, another advantage of this character is that her revelation cards, I think, are aggressively simple. So I think for maybe most of your experience, especially up to this point, maybe in the future it'll change, you're just going to want to run control, and you're going to want to keep it simple. You're going to want to control with HP percent, HP, and attack. You might want to do a healing percent, but I'm healing so strong, it doesn't even matter. As far as the space card, when attacking with the skill, decrease target's main defense 23%. There's honestly just not a lot of good options. I do think this is actually reasonable to use the departure card, because usually on the first turn of combat, your team goes first. You don't need to heal, so you'll open with an attack, and this will help you get a little bit of damage early, and then every now and then you do get to attack. There's not a whole lot of other card sets that I have personally found very good. I looked through most of them, like fire damage. That one is the same. I don't know. I went through and read like 3 or 4 of them, and this one did seem like it was the best as well. Now, if you look here, the recommended set, they do recommend as the first set, you increase your healing, and then you increase healing by even more, and then you increase healing effect even more. I think this is maybe something that you'll want to switch to later, but I think you want to hit these thresholds really bad, right? You want the 15,000 HP to get this. You want to make sure you get whatever percent HP you need when you're at level 9 to cap this out and to cap this out. Once you can cap out all of these increased HPs, then I think, and then you could take off the control cards. I think that's when you do that. And then, because you don't need the HP as much anymore, you could still have a bunch of HP, but again, I think at that point you're not getting full value out of it. Then you would prefer just to ensure even your weaker healing stuff or your healing over time just heals everyone to full up all the time. Or you could go all in on the HP and use her as a damage dealer as well. So her revelation cards are very simple. So that is basically what I'm recommending here for her, right? And well, I guess recommending, that's like her kit, what she does. Let's go ahead and take her into a battle, and we'll kind of get an idea. We'll build a team. We'll build a team around her, and I'll kind of show you in a fight. So here's a little bit of an example team you could run with her. It's basically, I mean, obviously she fits so well into every team. I don't think there's an ideal team for her. You take Wonder 2 units and she will keep them alive, right? That's kind of her thing here. But if you want to go all in on synergy, then you're going to want to run the Styx girl here, who I can never remember the real name of. I always forget it. Is it Marian? It's Yuki. She is like the blessed person, and so it makes her blessed stacks actually convert into more damage, which is kind of cool. And then this is a Ki. You could either use Ki or Soy. Both of their stuff scales off having maximum HP, which is good. I prefer Ki with her because he does more AoE damage, although Soy I think is like, you could also just remove her, do Soy, go all in on max HP. This is another very viable thing. Make it so the protagonist gets someone that increases max HP. But we'll kind of just take a look here at exactly what she does. So this is trial level 14. Whether or not we're going to win, I don't know. It's not really what's important. They reset my stuff. Let's go ahead and throw Ki back in there. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's go ahead and reset this. I want to bring someone that could actually do some AoE hits. There we go. And yeah, let's go ahead and showcase kind of what she does. So one thing you could see right away is even though she had 14,000 HP, now that combat started, she has 17,000 because of her own effect, right? And she also has one thing of Nectar, which has given her even more HP. So she has a crazy amount of HP. Now, the thing why this character is good with that, one, she's good in this fight because everyone has weakness, right? But also, she actually makes the blessed stacks work. So if you're getting blessed stacks, it actually is pretty darn good. So I am going to use my boy here. Really, one thing, if you have Anubis is really good in this team because you can use your light attack, which gives you 1 to 2 blessings, plus you guarantee get 2 blessings for using Anubis. And so it'll bring her stacks right here, assuming that you have the oath on your character straight up to 5 every single turn, so you're getting a huge damage increase. But for this specific fight, we're just going to worry about the all-out attacks, right? So let's go ahead and do this. All-out attack. Right, it's fine damage, it's whatever. So again, this is not the ideal team necessarily for this fight because we're just trying to showcase the other character, and these characters aren't weak to fire at all, but whatever. I think it's still fine to show. That guy didn't burn. Oh, we're gonna have to do something about that. That's kind of bad. All right, so here, this is what I'm talking about. On her first turn, she doesn't necessarily have that much to do, right? Because everyone's at full health. So she could just do an attack. And again, this does 42% of her max HP, and it grants the whole party the blessing, which is very good because this grants her 2 more gavel stacks, and it's actually going to make her max HP go up even higher because she's going to get that second diagnosis. So in addition to doing 8,000 damage there, not almost 9,000 damage for this fight, it's going to make her gavel stacks go up. It's going to make this go up. And so it's all pretty good. And so him burning not burning isn't the biggest deal because we're going to use his highlight here, I think. We could use her highlight, but we'll save it for when we actually need it a little bit more. I do like using, I believe it's Puppet here. Is that her name? Is this Puppet? I get Puppet and Riddle mixed up. but I think she's popping. This is overall, I think it's pretty good just to get the, you don't really do elemental effects here. You don't really care about the straight attack increases. So you can see here, she's up to 4 gavel stacks, which is awesome. And so why this is so good in synergy, I want to do a video on this character specifically, but if you spend gavel stacks, your characters are getting 4.2% more damage and 13% shield per gavel stack. So like, look at this. So even though that didn't do that much damage, now everyone has, she has 18,000 HP, and we have huge stacks. Can I take a look at how much shields we have? We also have 3,000 additional HP in shields, basically, right? So that's freaking huge. I will go ahead and burn them all here. I do want to increase the HP even more, but also at the same time, we can do that next time that comes up, and we can see how much HP we can actually get. And so now they're all burnt. We are going to do the Sammy Sosa here. Great skill, and we have enough to knock them all down and do an all-out attack here because we have 3 light characters. So actually, this is a very good fight to showcase her in. Obviously, maybe not for Key, but Key is so. I think people meme on Key. I think they use him like, yeah, Key is like Anne's 5-star weapon. Key is so good on his own too. He's like one of the best just AoE damage dealers in the game. I mean, obviously Joker, right? But like, let's not talk crazy. But he does good. All right, so I don't even need to heal here because we're kicking so much butt, but I think we're going to increase our HP. They're all burning. Let's go ahead and give them their juice here. What is important is she's buffing all their damage, especially Key, because he's getting the HP increase, the damage increase, and the other damage increase. She's at 18,000 HP. So we may not need to do this right now, but we're going to, and we're going to kind of take a look at our HPs here while we're doing it, right? And so we'll take a look when our turn comes up what our HPs are sitting at. But like, look at these hits, right? This is one of my favorite teams to run because it's so unbelievably tanky. And because you're doing the fire damage, you are chewing through them. It's not a speed run team, okay? The 11 action things is probably not gonna happen. But this is such a resilient team for pushing really, really hard fights. Not even gonna use this. So I didn't get any gavel stacks that time. That's on me, but it's all right because we weren't really going for that. So we can go and do this, get a couple gavel stacks. So let's take a look at our HP here. What is he at? He's at 13,000 HP, and we haven't used this yet. So we are going to use this in a second here. Hopefully before he gets his turn, but even if we don't, that's okay. It's not even, oh, it actually one-shot him. That's terrible. You don't want to do that in this. You don't want to accidentally one-shot characters because you want to get the most damage. All right, here we go. So he's at 13,000 HP. Let's go ahead and do this. Like, obviously, this is a very defensive team, so the healing isn't even necessarily that necessary, but look at these healing numbers in general, right? 3,000 plus they're healed over turn. He's at 14,000 HP right now. This hits for 21% and inflicts burn. I guess I'll do this time because they're already going to take the Sacred Fire. I don't mind burning them all. So there we go. Bada bing, bada boom. And then, honestly, now that you're at 17,000 HP, let's just smack them. We don't even need to heal this turn. Let's do our hit. Look at that. 10,000 damage, 12,000 damage, no problem. Which is also giving her nectar stacks. And how much damage actually did you do from the burn? 10,000, 2,900. Resist wind. Watch out, guys. They're resisting wind out here. So can I win in 7 actions? Maybe. We'll just keep doing this here. This is actually, you know, I'm happy with this fight. This has been a fantastic fight to showcase. I will say bringing Wonder might, if you kill them, I'm going to be upset, but it's okay. We're fine. We can always come back and do this fight later. There, you killed one, but I don't think it was the auto kill, which is fine. The all-out attacks still give you full points. And go ahead and, yeah, light them all on fire. They're even resistant to fire. And it's still great. Still doing great damage. And now finally, you could do, guess what? We're going to just have you attack again. So she can double as a damage dealer when you need her to. Like, and a relatively reasonable one, too, I would say. But, like, that's what I'm saying. Think about how much damage your team would take if they took 3,000 damage. It was barely even noticeable for this team because of how much HP she gives it. All right, we got 2 stars there. Is that crazy? That's not crazy, but that's fine. But yeah, that's showing her in combat. I think we used all of her skills at least once. Maybe we missed using her second skill there. But yeah, Minami, Marian, I think she is probably the best healer in the game. You could probably get her for free if you're patient for maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And is she needed for any content right now? Not necessarily. I mean, if you're not struggling with any of the content, that's fine. If you're trying to push higher level content than your account, the very fact that she makes everyone so much harder to kill, even from turn 0 with the 10% more HP, is it's pretty darn good. She's very good at keeping your team alive, and so I feel like you can more easily cheese higher level content by just not dying as soon as their turn comes up. And again, even if she's light based, you could put her on any team because she doesn't ever need to deal the damage if you don't really care. She could just heal people every single turn. She also uses a 50 caliber gun. So I think she's fantastic. And I'm just making sure we went over everything. We went over her weapons, we went over her persona, we went over her revelations, we showed her in combat. I think that's good. Yeah, I mean, for me, this is definitely a arguable S tier character, at least high A tier. I'm just not sure if I would ever put a healer in pure S tier. Maybe. She is just that good at it. So if you're the best healer in the game, maybe you do deserve that spot. But guys, that is all for this one. Much love. Per platypus is per platypus. I will see y'all in the flip-flops. Bye! Watch the views go up. Content king, never down, always showing up. Hitting milestones, the fame never lets up. Click that link, dive in deep, never get enough. Gaming, vlogging, every trend.